Welcome back to Dominant Mets Nation. Well, today it didn't work out like we all would have planned. The Mets didn't win 10 games in a row, but the good news is we could start our brand new win streak. I was a guy, I'm like, hey, it would be nice if we could go into the playoffs winning 29 games in a row, but we got to hit reality. Back to reality. The Mets took 2 out of 3 games from the Cincinnati Reds, and there was good and there was bad. Today was shows you where there is still room for opportunity, room for growth. We're going to go over some comments that Carlos Mendoza said, and yeah, I'm not going to say they were troublesome, but I'm going to just tell you why there is opportunity in those comments. We're going to highlight a very significant point in today's game. I want to see if you agree with me because I, I thought that there should have been a different outcome in this game. And I'll tell you why. And then last but not least, let's go over the odds. What are the odds of the Mets still making the playoffs? Okay. I mean, the big number everybody's talking about is 90 games. Got to get to 90 games. Got to get to 90 games. I wholeheartedly agree with that. So let's look at that factor. So we're going to get into a lot today. We're going to have another fun video. I got to say, first of all, thank you to everyone in our last video. I'm late with a lot of these videos because unfortunately I have to work. So I don't put my videos out in the most optimal time that I want to. Sometimes I'm lucky and I don't have work, but most times I do have work. So again, if you could help out the channel, if you're a diehard Met fan, your likes mean so much. So please continue to like. Last video, we got 48 likes. So let's try to beat that. If we're not at 48 and you're watching this video, click like. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Last video, our watch time came from 86% of people subscribe. So most of the people watching our video from our subscribers, and I appreciate you so much. We've recently had issues where our video is not going out to new subscribers, but with your likes and new subscription, that'll help change things. So thank you in advance. Okay, so let's get to a little bit of fun. Let's get to a little bit of fun today. And I think, we saw the good and the bad today. Let's start off with the good. The good, Mr. Luis Severino. Now, our starting rotation is rounding out into playoff form. Our starters are going deeper. Severino today went 6.2 innings, surrendered 5 hits, 1 earned run, 8 strikeouts. But I'll tell you what, the most impressive thing, and I'm pretty sure all of you who caught this game, it has to be the 5th inning. It has to be the 5th inning. I mean, and if anyone who hasn't caught it, this is how it started. First batter comes up for the Cincinnati Reds, hits a blooper to the third baseman, literally hits it at where Mark Vientos is supposed to be standing. He's shading over towards shortstop, so he races over for the blooper. He dives. It was not the best dive. He could have took a more direct route, and he came within like a foot of, hitting the ball with his glove. So the ball obviously doesn't hit the glove, so it bounces into the outfield. This very slow ball continues to roll toward left field, and the hitter eventually gets a double. It was like one of the most cheapest hits you can ever get, one of the most cheapest doubles you can ever get. But this is baseball. This is baseball. So the next hit, again, a tapper, a blooper to right field this time. It was just over the second baseman's head, and it literally, the ball stopped. So at this point, right now, it's first and third. Luis Severino is in a jam. He's in a huge damn jam. And at this point, they're saying in the broadcast, the Mets have been up for 76 consecutive innings without surrendering the lead. So we've never been behind for 76 consecutive innings. And that's got to tell you a lot about our team. That's got to tell you a lot about how special this team is. No other team in baseball has done what we just did. So then I'm like, okay, you know what? The lead's over. The lead is absolutely over. They're gonna at least score one run. It's first and third, right? So then, Luis Severino he's got the ball and he throws a pickoff play to first base. At first glance, it looks like the guy just got back, but when they showed the replay, Pete, it looks like he got the tag down. So Mendoza smartly, rightfully so, challenges the play, and we get an out. We literally get an out. So now it's man on third, one out. And Luis Severino had already started pitching to the current batter, Noelvi Marte, and I believe it was 2 strikes. So literally the next pitch he threw is an outside slider. And literally within the course of him throwing, like, I think 1 or 2 pitches, he gets 2 outs. And I'm like, wow, this is insane. So now it's man on third. It's 2 outs. Next batter comes up, and you get a major strikeout. And I turn and I look over to my wife, and I say, hey, you know what? This is what makes this team special. This is special for us to be able to get out of this jam. I thought that was freaking phenomenal. And then also too, the Mets in the 6th inning, we were able to squeak out a run. We got a run, and I'm like, okay, we were able to shut out the Reds in the 5th inning. We got a run. But you know what? It didn't work out. I thought that was supposed to be what inspires us to our offense to get going. But we got that one run, and that was it. Today, the offense was troublesome. It was troublesome. It was really troublesome, and I'm just trying to think. Because I want to get to those Carlos Mendoza comments. I want to see what you think about it. But first, let's get into Phil. Phil, famous Phil. Phil. A lot of people are saying Phil. Okay, here's the thing. Phil Maton going into that 9th inning, you could say that maybe that wasn't the right move, but clearly there were pitch counts for these bullpen guys. There were pitch counts. What do I mean by pitch counts? In the press conference, Carlos Mendoza alluded to the fact that it was a bit difficult navigating his bullpen for this particular series. So clearly, he couldn't go to certain guys. He couldn't pitch other guys. So, he didn't really indicate who was on a limit and, who he was restricted to going to. But clearly, there weren't many options. Because, it would be nice if Daniel Nunez would be back, because it's clear that we don't have like a backup closer. Initially at the trade deadline, we would hope that Stanek would evolve into that high leverage 8th inning guy, potentially close games when you didn't have Diaz available. Obviously, that didn't happen. Nunez would be your other option, but him being sidelined at the moment, you're limited. Budo wasn't available. Budo was a guy in the last 7 games, pitched 7 innings, not available. So you're at your third option that you have on the roster right now that's healthy, and that's Maton. And he's been very good. He's been extremely good. But here's the thing with Maton. He throws not hard, right? 87, 88. That's all it is. Maybe he hits 89 when the wind is blowing in his back, right? So if he doesn't have control, it's going to be a long outing. First hitter hits the guy, runners get on base eventually, and that ball that he threw to, I believe, Espinal hit a double down the left field line. Folks, it was a 76 mile per hour off-speed pitch up in the zone. Anybody could have hit that. You could have hit that. And, it was such a meaty pitch. It was a horrible pitch to throw in that spot. Horrible. If you're going to throw that pitch, you got to make sure it hits the right location. Other than that, you got to throw a cutter or something, some type of other pitch with a little more movement, a little more velocity. A hanger, a 76 mile per hour hanger isn't gonna cut it. It's not gonna cut it, folks. So that was my problem with that. Maton wasn't on tonight, and like here we go. We got our weaknesses. Our weaknesses, we don't have a backup closer. Daniel Nunes, we desperately need him back. We need another guy when Diaz is not available who has a bit more velocity. Maton, you really have to see how he's performing. And this is where I think it's very important for, I think it's very important for bullpen coaches, bullpen catchers to actually monitor how these pitchers are performing before they actually get into the game, especially a guy like Maton who doesn't have that electric type of velocity. It's very important specifically with him because he's a guy in the past who's had like nasty movement, but if the location's not there, like I keep repeating, he's gonna get crushed. Okay, so you see your opportunity right there. When Diaz is not available and Nunez is not here, we're a little stuck. We're a little stuck. Okay. If we had, Brazabon, if he performed like we thought he would, where we struck out in the bullpen, besides Maton at the deadline, and I had a video a couple weeks ago, and that was kind of before we went on the run. We kind of struck out at the deadline because we were supposed to fill that eighth inning, backup closer role. We thought we might have done it with Brazabon, but it's just not happening. Static maybe, but it's just not happening. Okay, so the other problem that I'm seeing is in the press conference, Carlos Mendoza was asked specifically. He was asked this specifically when Nimmo and Pete are struggling. What do you make of that situation? Because when obviously Lindor can't have all the hits. When Lindor has a quiet game, the offense struggles. And that's mostly because you got Nimmo and you have Alonso struggling. So they asked that question to Mendoza. And Mendoza basically said, I'm not worried. Both Pete and Nimmo always have good at bats. That was his answer, folks. Always have good at bats. So then I started scratching my head. I'm like, Pete Alonso always has good at bats. Really? This guy's left a small nation on base. Over 262 men he's left on base, runners with scoring position. He loves that pitch 2 feet outside and low. Maybe he's had some good at bats, but for him to not be worried and say they always have good at bats, I don't think so. Nimmo, more so. Nimmo's, he's getting on base, he's getting walks, but Alonso, I'm gonna say I'm starting to get a bit concerned. Now, my concern level is higher because he's batting fourth. Now, if he was having this production, if he was batting 240 with 30 something home runs and he's batting sixth or seventh, my concern level would go a bit lower. But it seems like he's in the middle of a lot of rallies and he is starting to become a rally killer. A rally killer. And I don't like that. I don't like that. And I don't like the fact that you have Carlos Mendoza really kind of trying to placate Pete in the media, like, oh yeah, great job, Pete. You're having great at bats. I see it. Don't try to suck up to a guy who hasn't signed with us, who potentially may be gone in a month and a half. There's no need. There's no need. Be straightforward. Like, we have to get better. We have to do things differently. We have to have productive at bats. We have to advance runners. We have to put the bat on the ball. We have to eliminate these strikeouts. The thing I did like about Jeff is Jeff put the bat on the ball. I kind of said, hey, Jeff McNeil is a guy that, we could really replace. But the one good thing Jeff did is he put the bat on the ball. He put the bat on the ball. Pete Alonso put the bat on the ball. There's not many guys in all of baseball who supposedly have your power, although Pete's slugging percentage is well down. It's like 40, 50th in all of baseball. It's not impressive. That's, what I'm trying to say. But So I didn't like that comment by Mendoza. So that's another opportunity. So you have the back end of the bullpen. That's an opportunity. You have the lineup specifically in the middle of the lineup. You know, Nimmo, he has a lot of potential and he's got to get going. Hit wise, he's got to get that stick going. And Pete Alonso. Pete Alonso is nowhere close to the polar bear. And it's so funny. And every time I see Pete Alonso struggle, then I'll Google like Pete Alonso, and then I'll see like I'll see like an article. And here's the article that I saw latest, and let me kind of bring it up because I kind of chuckled when I saw it. Um, oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay. So here's the thing, and this, they're playing the Cincinnati Reds. So it goes, what if Cincinnati Reds could add the polar bear to the middle of the order? That would be insane in quotations. All right. That would be. I mean, yeah, that would be insane. You see, Pete Alonso, in the middle of our order. It's not insane. It's actually a liability as of late. So, sometimes you wonder who the hell is writing these articles. Like, do people actually do their homework? It's a little ridiculous. It is just a little ridiculous. Okay, so let's get back to our playoff situation, and let me bring up the standings. Let's bring up the standings right now. I think that's important. Okay, so let's look at the standings and we'll drop down obviously to our New York Mets. And we're 78 and 65. We have 19 games left in the season. And most people, I would say most fans, prognosticators are saying that we have to at least get to 90 wins to get into the playoffs. I think we have to get to 91 wins, possibly more, possibly more. I mean, you have some teams playing well. I think our advantage is, and I like the fact, we're 9-1 in our last 10. 9-1 in our last 10. We're tied with the Atlanta Braves right now. We're a game and a half back of the D-backs. Both the D-backs and the Braves won today. San Diego Padres, they lost, so we're still 2 games back. So all of these teams, Padres, Diamondbacks, and Braves, they're all within striking distance. Obviously, we're tied with the Braves, so more than within striking distance. Now, to get to the magic number of 90 games, we would have to win 12 games. Obviously, go 12 and 7. Yesterday was 12 and 8. All right, we lost the game. Now we got to go 12 and 7. If you think you got to get to 91, then you got to go 13 and 6. If you think you got to get to, 92, then you got to go 14 and 5, depending on what you think we have to do. Obviously the numbers will change, vice versa. I would say the Diamondbacks by far have the toughest schedule next to ours. The Braves have, the least tough schedule. If you go to the D-backs here and let's look at schedule, the D-backs actually have, they have a pretty formidable schedule. They're just coming off playing the Astros. They're going to have 2 games against the Rangers, but then they go to the Brew Crew. They play the Brew Crew for 3 games, and then they're going to play the Rockies for 3. Then they play another 4-game set with the Brewers. So that's another, those 7 games right there. That's not easy. San Fran, that's 3 games there, and that's not going to be a cupcake walk as well. So you have 10 games, and then you add at the end of the year, which is going to be no cakewalk, you have the San Diego Padres, another 3-game set. So I would say 13 out of the remaining 18 games for the D-backs are going to be extremely tough, extremely tough. So we have a full avenue to take advantage of that. Now, I could see the D-backs playing around 500 ball, and I don't think it's going to cut it. I don't think it's going to cut it. So if they play 500 or below 500 because they have those 13 tough games, that's an opportunity right there. That is an opportunity. And folks, if you haven't hit the like button, it is right now. It is 1:30 in the morning. I'm doing this exactly for you. So please support the channel. I thank you so much. Okay. So let's see right now. Let's go over to let's go back here and let's check out the Braves schedule. And the Braves, by all accounts, have the easiest schedule. As I bring this up, so there's no surprise. So it looks like they have a makeup game tomorrow or today against the Reds. The Reds not a crazy opponent. And then they have two games against the Nationals. Nothing crazy there. So that's three easy games. So three easy ones. Then you have the Dodgers in a four game. So that's going to be tough. So right, so far you have three easy, four tough. Now you have Cincinnati Reds. So that's another three easy. So that's six versus four, and then another three easy ones with the Marlins. That's 9 versus 4. They're going to play us. That's going to be tough. So 9-7. And then KC at the end. KC. Let me check out KC's record. I don't think they're not fighting for anything. So excuse me, they are fighting for something. They're in the wild card. Oh my God. See, I don't pay attention to the American League. Okay, so they are fighting. So they got close to 10 games that are pretty competitive. So I mean, I don't think the schedule is that easy for the Braves. It's not that easy. So I could see the Braves losing quite a few games. Let's see the San Diego Padres. San Diego Padres. But I still think the D-back schedule is the hardest. So the Padres, okay, they have an off day today. Then they have two games with the Mariners. We see the Mariners; they could be a pretty tough bunch. So those are two tough games. The Giants, I'm going to say the Giants are a tough opponent. If you look back here, they lost two games last time against the Giants. Giants. So you got five tough games there, and then you got the Astros. That's another three tough games there. So that's eight tough games. The White Sox, that's not. So 8-3. Then the Dodgers, 11-3, 14-3. So, I mean, honestly, I would say the Padres' schedule is just as tough as the D-backs, honestly. And then the big clincher here, you got the D-backs playing the Padres the last series of the a year. So, I mean, there's just so much opportunity for the New York Mets to make the playoffs right now. We're in prime position, and the way we're playing puts a lot of pressure on the Padres, puts on a lot of pressure on the D-backs. All right, now let me make this screen big so I can give you my last word. Okay, so finally here, folks, I think we have a golden opportunity. We don't have opportunities like this much. Mets fans, I went down the list about how we've blown so many things in the past. But here's the thing. I talk about opportunities where we've blown, 2022, uh, you know, 2015 World Series, 2006, 2007, and you go into the late 90s, 2008, go back to the 1998, 1999, 2000 World Series, you know, and then the many times that we just failed in the middle of the season and we just blew it early on. The fact that we're in it this late in the season is so goddamn exciting. It's so exciting. I mean, usually I got the Jet game later on, and I'm like, okay, when is football season? When is football season? Because baseball season is usually long over. Now I'm interested in watching football and the New York Mets and the New York Mets. So I mean, that is amazing. And I'm a Mets fan, I'm a Knicks fan, I'm a Jets fan, and I'm a Rangers fan. And I was talking about it with Johnny, and I'm like, all my teams are actually you know, playoff bound, and possibly championship contenders all across the board. So it is just so phenomenal. And my number one sport is baseball. I love the Mets, and that would be the team that I love to see win. And then I would probably have to say football and basketball tied. Maybe football a little higher. Maybe football a little higher. Then the Knicks. But Knicks are very close. I don't even know if I could say Knicks are third. I think I would have to say they're tied with the Jets second, and then Rangers would be my third. Team that I want to see win. I mean, the Rangers, they won in 1994. Mets 86, Jets 69, and Knicks, what is it, 72, 73. So it's been a while. It's been a while. So we haven't had much winning. Hopefully we can start a streak and have all the teams win. And I mean, other teams are looking good as well. If you're a Giants fan, they're going to be damn exciting as well. Yankees, yeah, I don't think so. And I'm going to get to another video because I made a lot of predictions in the beginning of the year. It feels like they're all coming true. I made a prediction video that we could possibly win close to 95 games. It looks like that might happen. I made another prediction video saying that we're going to be the NL East version of the Tampa Rays. Looks like that's going to happen. I made a prediction video that, it would be best to move Nimmo out of the leadoff spot. That's going to happen. And a bunch of other positions. Oh, I made a prediction video that the Mets would be better than the Yankees this year. That looks like a home run slam dunk. And also that we would be so much position. The Mets would be way better positioned than the Yankees for the future. So it's always interesting to look at your prior, preseason prediction and see what comes true and what doesn't. Also other things, Vientos should have been on the opening day roster. I wanted Christian Scott on the opening day roster. Those are little things, but the overall big picture things, I looks like I'm probably going to get one thing, I'm not majorly wrong, but I said the Mets would win 86. The good thing is it looks like we're going to win over 86. God willing, nothing catastrophic. I don't even want to mention that. Okay. All right. So sorry at the end for rambling. It's late right now. Like, subscribe. Let me know how many wins do you think the Mets are going to get to. Let me know what you are. I'm trying to build this video up. Build this channel up again. We're contending with a few things, algorithms that I'm starting to learn. So I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will talk to you very soon. And let's go Mets. We'll get winning again.